chicken.
In 2007, in 18 months, I lost literally everyone in my life. My mother came down with dementia, went to settle her affairs in Florida. My brother got sick and died. 3 of my best friends got sick and died. And I got through all that fine, and then my wife died in my arms at 38 years old, and I freaking snapped, you know. Well, my situation isn't typical of most people out here, and that, you know, I have a master's degree, I have 2 bachelor's degrees, you know, I worked my whole life. I got my master's from Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT. I have a bachelor's from Cornell, bachelor's from U of R. You know RIT, right?
Yeah.
It's like
What
arguably the best school in the world for the field.
Yeah.
I worked for Impact Visuals, and then Archive Photo, and then Getty Images. It was good for a long period of time.
Well, it started out when I lost my job about 10 years ago. I worked for a Philip Morris cigarette company. I worked there for 20 years. They had a mass layoff. I lost my job. I can't collect my retirement until I'm 55, which will be next January. I had back problems, so I started collecting disability. You can go down here to Bellevue Shelter.
Bellevue Shelter.
Right. You have ID, right? Tell them that you're homeless. Just go stay for a couple of nights just to see what the shelter system looks like. I'll give you, for example, in Brooklyn, they have a place we call it Castle Grayskull, Bedford Atlantic. That is the worst shelter. So you might get thrown out a window over there. The security guards do not go into the dorms, so like that's the dorm doors. Yo, I have walked in there one night, the dude was sitting smoking crack, and the door opened and he just, like nobody, you know, it could have been, like I could have been security, you know? Security doesn't go inside, doesn't mess with it. I've heard instances of people being thrown out a window, robbed up in there. If you have any valuables and you lock them up in your locker, they will come and rob you while you sleep.
And the shelter system was just, I just got taken for a ride. I brought like 3 Armani Black Label suits there that were, I was robbed over and over and over again by people that live in the shelters. That's one thing. But the staff ended up stealing all my things, and that's just, I will never go back. I spent the whole winter outside because I will not go back. When I called the police on it, and they called me a liar. I can never recall ever being called a liar in my life. And it's like they stole not just the suits. I had an iPod, a television set, my birth certificate, my passport, my wife's passport, number of I didn't have the typical things in a locker that most people in the shelter had, and just gone.
The horror stories that you've heard about the New York shelter system are true, and probably not even heard how bad they really truly are. I would tell you, do not take your shoes off, boy, and if anybody goes surround your bed, give them what they want. Don't play with them, they're going to hurt you. I seen a guy get stabbed in the system in New York. I saw a guy get hit in the stomach with a machete. I had to go to court and testify about that too. Do you believe that? In New York, there were no consequences for your actions. What happens is New York City has a law, I forgot I could tell you when it was issued, that says that they must provide shelter to every person that comes.
Okay.
There's the problem. Because you have to take everybody that comes to your door. So that's why when people go into the New York shelter system, here's a sandwich, here's a bed, good night, get up and leave. So they're not eradicating the problem in any way, shape, or form. They're not trying to do anything. And again, in fairness to them, the law says they have to take everybody. See, now when you cross the river over here to New Jersey doesn't have that law in any city or county.
In this shelter, I've been here about 13 months, which thank God for Tom, because he let me stay that long. I'm actually waiting for my Social Security disability to come through. I can't afford rent on my own. I've been in the shelter system altogether about 5 years. I've been waiting for Social Security. I got sick and I lost my apartment, and I wasn't able to make enough money to support an apartment. Really couldn't. On what they give me for welfare, which is only a little bit, it's impossible. You know what I'm saying? It really is. I mean, they try to help everyone, but it's virtually impossible. I mean, I have 3 children, and they want me to live with them, but I raised them. I don't want them, you know. I'd rather them have their own life, and I could take care of myself. You know?
And this is a very, very compassionate shelter to take, because you know what? Like a lot of shelters, they may talk the talk, but actually what they want, they don't want people that aren't on welfare. If you aren't getting welfare or some kind of government money, you know, the government will like pay them for their body. I mean, one shelter took me and said, well, we're going to keep you on like a day-to-day basis because if we need that bed to put someone that we can get money off of, and you know, you got to go. And so I said, day-to-day basis. They said, well, you might have a couple weeks here. I was in there 4 days, you know. I mean, I moved in one day. I went out looking for a job the next day. I came back and there was a letter on my bed. You got to leave the next day. Take your stuff with you because we need that bed.
There's a very large new population that's developing, and that's the working poor. That's another form of homelessness. In other words, they are the fastest growing population in this area. They're working, but they can't survive. So at $7.50 an hour, I'll even give you $8 an hour. Let's say I'll pay you $8 an hour. At 40 hours per week, that's $320 a week gross. And you're a single guy, after taxes, what are you coming home about? $280? About $280. You're bringing home $280 a week. All right? $700 a month rent. Telephone, cell phone, food, furniture, clothing items. So a lot of the guys, what they do in order to beat that, and this is where the cycle continues. I'm taking you into a spot to let you know why the cycle continues, is they really can't afford to pay that monthly rent. So what they do is they get furnished rooms or they go to boarding houses. When you're living in a furnished room, you have no protection. There are no rights. And the reason for that is because you don't own anything. It's my furniture, not yours. Okay? So rents are payable weekly. Now, what happens a lot of times here, a lot of the buildings right around here, there's 2 buildings in particular that I know of. What they do, if your rent is due at 6 p.m. on Friday night, if you don't have it at 6 p.m., they lock you out. And they can do that legally. So now you're locked out. Now guess what you have to do? You have to pay them a penalty.
Yeah, you have to repay the security. They keep your security. They keep everything, and you got to start all over again instead of being. They don't give you no credit for being there or no credit for paying. And then recently, I just started back to work about 2 weeks ago. So now I'm working 40 hours a week. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go from here to Fairlawn.
2 buses every day.
You know, and it takes me an hour and 45 minutes each way. So I'm spending about 13, 14 hours a day awake trying to make money to make sure we got, food and everything. Or not even so much food, but a place to stay. And it gets to the point where, the rent's so high I can't even afford food. So we have to come here. And, I don't come here out of choice. I come here out of necessity. That's all it is. You have to put your nose down. You have to do what you got to do. I'm only 32 years old. I feel like I'm 45. It's hard. It really is.
How long would you say you've been going through the cycle?
Since 2005. I've had the same job when I moved up here. I had the same job. I was laid off for 1 year and 3 months. And even with me still working, it's just enough just to get by.
Like in this economy and everything, whereas like like I also have a 2-year degree. I have colleges under me. I have I've been a Black SEAL engineer. I'm getting that back and whatnot. But I got this sort of, like I'm trying to make myself more and more valuable because like I'm seeing that in these unemployment offices and in these temp places and whatnot, guys are sitting next to me that are like people that you would think should easily be like working, and their situation is as bad or like worse than mine, They've been out of work like even longer looking for a job and whatnot. So, yeah, like the unemployment situation is really kind of rough.
I mean, if you turn around now, look for an unskilled labor position. There aren't any, and it's becoming more desperate. I mean, I went over. I visit the temporary employment agencies. I know the girls there for years. I go see them. I was up there the other day on 29th Street. The girls said, I just tell people to write their name on the list. I'm not having jobs. Quality Temps on 48th Street, one of the most reputable employment agencies, doesn't have any application. They shouldn't give you an application. So what are people really going to do?